situated near the tip of Africa, is where we're from, South Africa. It's probably closer to Antarctica than it is the US, the UK, or Europe. Add to that various levels of sanctions in the 60s and 70s, hardcore sanction in the 80s, which lasted 10 years, plus a conservative government. The birth of the alternative culture was more a trickle born out of rebellion a few years after the initial onslaught in the north.
Despite political and social unrests and an economy that's never actually recovered, the advent of the internet brought an accessibility to the scene, which helped it grow. So we often get asked what the scene is like, and we've gone to the trenches to get the lowdown.
And on screen we've got Patrick Davidson, guitarist for Mind Assault, founder and curator for Metal for Africa. We've got John Morrow, guitarist from Margo and an independent reviewer. We've got Reegan Buisson, vocalist for Facing the Gallows, and Carlos Sanches, vocalist for Deadline.
And a wild Lou de Pisani appears from The Drift, Knave, and MK Undergrond.
So due to the COVID epidemic, obviously travel, live shows, festivals, everything's pretty much come to a grinding halt. And how is this affecting things on your side of the world?
Yeah. Look, we obviously have taken a massive punch, and I speak for everybody who's in the community, be they artists, be they promoters, be they just fans. I think something we've realized with our festivals is that somewhere in the mix of things, we've shifted our focus from music to people. Not at the exclusion of the music, obviously, but we've become very people-centric. And I mean, our kind of tag phrase for the festival nowadays is like a place for friendship and metal. Note, friendship and metal. So the friendship kind of comes first. And I think it's because with all the years, we do have a certain social and therefore emotional dependency on our ability to congregate and share in this joy in our lives. And everyone's cut off from that now, and that sucks. So, there is an opportunity in this to evolve, though. And that's the attitude we've been trying to take since we realized initially that we were going to have to cancel our winter festival, which took place in August. We considered the human element of it, and we said, we cannot cancel.
Yeah.
We have to evolve. And that was a pretty daunting decision to make. But once we had made it, then it's like, all right, well, now the hard part is over. Making the decision is the hard part. The rest is just hard work.
Yeah.
I must admit, since Winterfest has come and gone, it has not got easier. Because all of the uncertainties are still there. Our abilities to plan are still thwarted. And at the end of the day, we would appreciate stability because we can work in a stable environment. And we don't have any of that now. There's no assurances on anything. But our attitude as Metal for Africa, at least, and we're trying to make this contagious throughout our community, is take this opportunity to evolve in even just a small way or a big way. But the one thing that we have actually benefited from by not having a physical event in August is that for several years now, we've been talking about trying to incorporate some kind of online component. We've now had the opportunity to focus all of our attention on what that actually means. So for Summerfest, or let me put it this way, beyond Summerfest, I actually feel pretty excited. Because sooner or later, we will be able to get back to something familiar. But I do believe that when that time comes, we're going to be infinitely better than what we were prior to this because of what we've been forced to learn and adapt and evolve during this this strange time. So I think it's a question of attitude. It's a shit time. No one's going to deny that. But how are we using it?
Yeah.
That's really the question, and we're trying to use it well for what it's worth.
Yeah, fuck, man. We released an album during the fucking lockdown. We were due to play a festival that's starting to get a bit of traction in Durban, which we were quite excited about. The weekend we went into lockdown because the only time we played in Durban was pretty fucking unsuccessful, let me just tell you. So we were really looking forward to that. Matthew House is organizing a thing they call Pits at the Polo, and so obviously that didn't happen. We obviously had to, a few gigs were cancelled. And then our album was due to be released on the 26th of June. So we'd already taken a bit too long with the recording, etc., because real life. So we decided to go through and do it. We had a huge social media presence thanks to David Westhuizen, who does all our social media stuff. And we decided to, I think we may have been the first South African metal band to stream a live show during lockdown. I think we just came off the Focal Politica, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the Funko bands. We didn't use a very professional setup. We used some guys in Ferry Glen. The sound was not great, but I'm glad we did it because we had no album. We were going to launch an album at Railways, and then obviously everything fell apart, and it was a lacquer way to get across to our fans. And it's been a bit of a tough few months for us, but I think we've done all right.
Yeah, cool. Anything, Lou?
No, I mean you've played abroad, mate, haven't you?
No, that was last on my bucket list. That literally was the last thing on my bucket list. And for me, the clock was actually ticking for biological reasons. But then COVID hit. We had the whole thing planned. We were going to do something in Europe. We were going to try and do something in the UK on the way. And I mean, the contracts came through, and then the world shut down.
Yeah.
So we're on the big pause. And again, we're like, we were the fancy of a dude of influence. We were like a weird, quirky thing that one promoter liked. Like it's going to be difficult to motivate that shit next year, and I think it's important just to kind of go, I'm not defined by this. It's meant to be fun, and don't let the disappointments get to you, man.